And he looked at me with these very eyes. And he said to me, I don't need your medicine, for I'm a healthy man. And I said to him, if you don't stop your debaucherous, decadent way, you'll be taken with a dreaded, horrible disease of which I will not speak of in public for fear of offending young ladies and children in the crowd. And thus it was, 6 months later, I was called to that young man's bedside, whereupon I found him writhing in agony upon a bed of pain. His bodily cavity, his abdomen was swollen, like that of a hot air balloon, from odoriferous gases that were being generated from decaying organs inside. His arms and legs were covered with pustulent boils and sores. He had bleeding, oozing lesions upon his face. He was in great agony and pain as the grave worms gnawed away at his very innards, eating him from the inside out, even as Herod the Great was eaten from the inside out. Already his brain had begun to shrink and to atrophy, causing him to have delirium tremens and see those things which were not so. His heart no longer pumped forth rich red life-giving blood, but instead pumped forth a vile, colorless liquid, giving him the pale pallor of death. And he cried out and said, Good sir, what is to be done? And I said, what is to be done should have been done 6 months ago, but you heeded not my words of warning. Now you find yourself in a state that not even my elixir can reverse you. See, I am a man of honesty and integrity. I would not take advantage of a dying man. And realizing that, he said to me, Then I have one last request, sir. Ere I go on to my untimely demise, take me with you, that wherever you go, when you stand up and speak about the powers of the elixir, they will know that you tell the truth and gaze upon me and know that I made a very bad choice and not follow the foolish path that I have taken. And then that young man, with his bodily cavity expanding outward to the point where the skin's elasticity could no longer stretch forth, but the gases were pushing outward on the skin, rolled his eyes to heaven, bade his loved ones a last goodbye, and exploded. And we scraped him off the walls and the floors and the bedclothes. And we put him here as you bade. I'm not a prophet, I'm not a soothsayer, I'm not a seer, but I say to you, sir, unless you heed my words of warning, gaze upon your possible future. You, sir, would you have your children cling this, or would you have your wife cling this to her bosom and say, husband mine? Would you have your children gaze upon this as it sits upon the mantle and say, Papa? My friend, time passes quickly by. Our lives are but grains of sand in the great hourglass of time, with all that sand past settling the bottom. Some of you already experienced that. Who will turn the hourglass upside down? Nay, not one. For it says in Haggai, cousin of Malachi, the Italian prophet, chapter 6, verse 32, it is appointed unto man once to die. Why I want to do it any more than that's beyond me. My friends, we cannot stop the inevitable, but we can prolong our lives with Dr. Balthasar's marvelous miracle medicine. How many of you are familiar with the good book? Let me see your hands. It's far more than we had when we started. My friends, the armor of the Lord for the soul is the good book, but here is the armor for the physical body. For it also says, the arrow of pestilence flieth by night, and hitteth us in the hindside. Is your hindside exposed? Is it hanging out? Have you bought a bottle of Dr. Balthasar, sir? Or are you making a good arrow target for the arrow of pestilence? A bullseye on your posterior. All thanks to Dr. Balthasar's, that can be averted for a few small dollars, my dear friends, and your life will be changed. My friends, time grows short. Some of us are in the twilight of our years, while others are fast approaching sunset, from which they will come weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. My dear ones, naked we come into this world, and naked we leave, and barefoot we must all walk through that valley of the shadow wherein there is no light. In the darkness, in your bare feet, as you walk through that valley, do you know what you're about to step in? Well, let me tell you. Ill humors, bilious fevers, odious vapors, worms, the bloody flux. Do you really want to put your bare foot in that? Or would you rather have your pathway illuminated by the power of Dr. Balthasar's elixir? My dear ones, thousands have procured this elixir and gotten lit by drinking it and taken their way up to the Mount of Health, Wealth, and Prosperity. All thanks to Dr. Balthasar's. My dear ones, I will leave you as I found you, with this question. Who knows what the morrow brings? Some of you say to me, I'm healthy. I don't need it. My dear ones, no one knows what the morrow brings except death, taxes, and the fish wagon. And all three of them stink. My question to you is very simple. Do you want to be well, or do you want to smell? The choice is yours. Listen to me as I leave you with free advice as I found you, my friends. As you go through life, no longer submit yourself to the barbarous practices of bleeding and blistering issues and seats. No longer douse yourself with counterfeits, promising the properties of Dr. Balthasar's. There is only one, bottled by myself, sold by same. I stand behind every bottle I sell. If it doesn't do what I say, you come back and procure a second bottle, and I'll double guarantee it. You won't find anyone who will give you that kind of a guarantee, my dear ones. If you forget all else that I have said to you today, as you arise from this august congregation and go forth out onto the fairgrounds and drop dead, so be it your choice. But as you are laying there in your final few seconds, and they take the coins out of your pocket and place upon your eyes, you will think to yourself, would that I had plucked those coins from my pocket and put them in the palm of the good doctor, and he would have placed the elixir in mine, and then this whole unfortunate incident could have been avoided, but it'll be too late. And you will find yourself in the cold river Styx. Does stink, that's where the dead people are. And there will be no return for you, my friends. If you forget all else, remember these words of wisdom as you go through life. Beware of two things, politicians and quack doctors, for both will make promises they cannot keep and take your money and give you very little in return. Dr. Balthasar's, yes, that's the one. You should surely try it. Just one bottle, that's the way. Now ain't you glad you buyed it? Marvelous miracle medicine, cures aches and pains and shivers. Cures this Pepsi of bad breath too, and rejuvenates your liver. Bump your head and twist your back. Does your willpower fail you? In your case, sir, that's not a rhetorical question. Just one bottle, that's the way. It will cure all that ails you. Marvelous miracle medicine, cures aches and pains and shivers. Cures this Pepsi of bad breath too, and rejuvenates your liver. Thank you, my dear friends. I'm now available for your